Thanks again for tuning into Sims Workshop. Hope you're having a wonderful day. So, today we are going to be talking about Dragons of Deceit. I don't know how much of a review this is going to be, so much as me fangirling. Margaret Wise and Tracy Hickman have returned to Dragonlance. They've returned to the realm of Crim, and you know what? You don't understand how happy this makes me. So my expectations for this book were very, very high. I mean, this is how much I love Dragonlance. I literally have it tattooed on me. Literally. I mean, I love dragons. I love Dragonlance. It's what got me into high fantasy when I was a kid. You know, my mom was just like, here, read this. You're going to like it. And she was not wrong. There are probably 200 books in the whole Dragonlance universe, many of which you can't even buy new anymore. They're pretty much out of print. You can only get the Chronicles and the Test of the Twins trilogy brand new. That's it. You can't even get War of Souls or the Lost Chronicles, which was the last trilogy published. Now, when I read Lost Chronicles, let me tell you, that was the last set of Dragonlance books ever published. I was very disheartened, not just because of that, but because it felt like Wise and Hickman, their heart wasn't in the storytelling. It felt like they were just kind of going through the motions. There were lots of plot holes, lots of inconsistencies with their original trilogy, and I was just like really underwhelmed and kind of disappointed when I read those. You know, it's like Dragonlance was going out with a whimper instead of a bang. So for me to finally have Dragons of Deceit in my hand, and there was a lot of drama going behind the scenes regarding this publication. You can look at it. There was a whole lawsuit, you know, between Wise and Hickman, contract breaches. Not between Wise and Hickman. Those two are still fine, but between them and the publisher. So lots of drama. I didn't even think this was going to happen, right? I am so happy it did. And it lived up to every single one of my expectations. It really, really did. Especially after reading Lost Chronicles and having that, you know, remembering it and looking back at my older reviews of that, I'm like, oh God, yeah, those weren't great. You know, Dwarven Depths, High Lord Skies, Hourglass Mage. Covers are absolutely beautiful, as is all Dragonlance covers. But it was just so underwhelming. So to finally have this, you have no idea how happy and excited I am, because my expectations were so high and it lived up to every single one of them. So the story follows Destina Rosethorn. Brand new character. This is who we're following. Not any of the companions, a brand new protagonist. See, she is pretty much, she's biracial. She has a white father who's a Islamic knight, and a mother, right, who's also a warrior in her own right for her own people. Now, I'll say this. As much as I love the story, and I think the story is really engaging. I love, again, that world building, that pacing. It was so well done. I mean, Margaret Wise and Tracy Hickman, they have such a talent for portraying good versus evil. You know, being a Islamic knight doesn't make you good. It's your actions that define you. I mean, take Dalamar the Dark, for instance. He is a mage of the Black Robes. And yes, Dalamar is in here. He gets his own perspective. It is amazing, and I still love Dalamar. You know, he's a Sylvanesti elf who practices the dark arts, basically. He's a Black Robe mage. He's the High Black Lord mage, right? And he's best friends with Caramon and Tanis. I mean, he's friends with the companions, and his alignment is evil, but he does a lot of good because he is always looking out for kind of like the betterment of society, because if, you know, society goes to shit, then his life is going to go to shit. So yes, he's looking out for himself, but he's not going to forsake the world in order to make his own life better. So props to Dalamar for that. Then you have the freaking knights. I've never been a fan of the Islamic knights. Let me just state that. For me, Sturm was always my least favorite character. Lawful good for you. And I'm chaos, basically. To Casey's. She's my favorite character, which is funny because Goldmoon is also my favorite character. Polar opposites, but they're my favorites. So I am chaos. incarnate. And I don't like Salaman Nights, but for Sturm, and I didn't like Sturm really much, was I sad when he died? Kind of a little bit. But when it comes to Salaman Nights, they're really, really stiff. They're all about their oath and a measure, and they're really cocky, and they're kind of obnoxious and really self-righteous, and they don't really want to do anything if it's really not going to benefit them. They are so rigid, and I don't like them. I like the Knights of Naraka much better. But that's the point. The point is, I'm sorry, I know I went a little bit of a tangent there, but the point is they showcase what it defines being good and what defines evil. And that really plays a lot here because you have Destina. She wants to go back in time to before the War of the Lands to stop her father from dying. So this book takes place, it starts before the War of the Lands, goes through the War of the Lands, and stops short there, right after the War of the Lands. Years before the War of Souls, In fact, they all see the prophecy of Takisi stealing the world, and none of them understand it. And I'm like, I know what that is. I know what that is. That was my excitement level, as you can see. Loved it. But I digress. It was everything I wanted. And back to my original point, Destina is somewhat unlikable at times, and I think that's just because she is so stiff and rigid, and she doesn't have what Sturm did. At least Sturm, he had Tanis, he had Flint, he had Tasselhoff, he had Caramon. He had the companions to kind of temper his self-righteousness, and he was humbled. I think that's what really bothers me with the Knights of Solamnia. They are not humble. But Destina's father is. I did like him. And I understand Destina's need. Once her father died, her life literally fell apart because in Solomonic society, women cannot inherit titles. It always goes to the men, the next male heir, right? So her life pretty much went out of control. So this story is really just following her, trying to carve out some sort of life for her. And it's just like, she gets wind of the device of time traveling, which belongs to Tasselhoff. Yes, Tasselhoff is here. Tasselhoff does play a big role. The companions would be doomed without Tasselhoff and Raistlin. Let me just say that. Without those two, it would not have succeeded. Two of my favorite characters as well. I love those two. But when she gets wind of that, that's her new goal. I'm going to get this device. I'm going to travel back in time. So she becomes an agent of chaos. And I mean, literally, she gets the chaos gem. She becomes an agent of chaos. And, well, you can just understand where chaos is going to come into play. And a bunch of things do not go according to plan. Unfortunately. They don't go according to plan. It's kind of terrible. And then they go back. I don't want to spoil it, but they do go back to the point, that first scene in Autumn Twilight when the companions are first returning together after 5 years of being apart. And I was just like, oh my god, yes. Sorry, I'm really excited. This book really did live up to all of my expectations. I mean, I love it. It gets 5 out of 5 stars. It just made me feel so happy. It was like such a big part of my life. And like I said, it went out with a whimper instead of a bang. Like, The Lost Chronicles was really disappointing to me as far as a trilogy goes, especially considering I know Wise Hickman's writing. The fire is back. The world building is amazing. Dragons, come on. It's freaking amazing. I love this book. And after this ending, I'm like, oh my god, I need the second book and I need it now. You do not understand. I've been really good at trying to keep my reviews under 10 minutes lately. But I can't help but rant about everything this book made me feel. And I'm so sorry for many of you who are watching this thinking this girl's crazy. Yeah, I am. I'm not gonna lie. I'm nuts. But it's because this book made me feel nostalgic. It made me feel happy. It felt like I was coming home. Back to Solus. Back to Kryn. Fan favorite characters are coming back. But this is a new story. And I love that you can feel Wise and Hickman's passion in the story. And you know what? As much as Destina is kind of unlikable, I think it fits with her, backstory. She's a Solomon Knight. She sounds like a Solomon Knight. So that's why, to me, she is not really my favorite. I don't like Solomon Knights. Sorry. They are not my favorite characters. Didn't really care for Sturm, but I think she can grow on me. I think if she gets her own band of companions, the way that Sturm had, it'll temper her. And it'll make her a softer character instead of so rigid and single-minded and kind of stubborn. I like that about her, but it gets in the way and it does somewhat make her unlikable at times to the point where I'm just like, oh my god, like, snap out of it, girl. Get your shit together. That's basically where I was at with her. But you know what? I still loved it. I loved every minute. I think there's a lot of room to creating a very complex character here, and Wise and Hickman, they're really good at creating complex characters. Every single one of their characters, probably not Tasselhoff, but every single one of their other characters are so incredibly complex and multi-layered. I mean, they have such an incredible talent for that. So I think it does open up the room for allowing Destina to grow in the next 2 books. Because yes, it's a trilogy. And yes, I am excited. 5 out of 5 stars. If you want to purchase the book, I will include links where to purchase in the description below. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to this video and share with all your book-loving friends. You can also become a supporter on buying me a coffee or by purchasing one of my handmade candles. Now, on that note, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.